To another video, something a bit different today. We're in my cousin's, Jason's, Infiniti Q50
S,
and it's the hybrid four-wheel drive version. It uses the Nissan 3.5 litre V6, which you find in like the 350Z and even cars like the Renault Espace and Nissan. There's a Nissan Quest that people carry around in the US. There's loads of cars that use it actually. So it's got about 360 horsepower, about 300 horsepower on the engine and another 60-70 horsepower on the motor. So it'll be interesting to see what this thing's like. So on his drive over to the house today, I asked him to reset the miles per gallon just to get a real world idea of what it would do on a 15-20 mile trip, and it was 39.2. Sure,
think so,
miles per gallon. So I'll stick it in here anyway. We've got a photo of it, and that's not bad really for a 360 horsepower saloon car. So quite impressed with that. Probably sort of on par with what I used to get out of my BMW 330D, which was around 300 horsepower. But yeah, I guess straight on. But yeah, I guess it just depends on sort of driving. I mean, I was getting 40 to the gallon out of that, sort of driving it reasonably hard. There's a big hole here, by the way. So probably the diesel's probably still a bit more economical in like for like. But
yeah, when I was coming over, I wasn't pushing it, but in traffic it uses the battery side of things, other than as long as it's charged. It's self-charging. It's not a plug-in hybrid of anything.
Yeah, now.
So it's actually on battery at the minute, and then if I just put my foot down a little bit, it should flick over to, there we go. So it's charging up off of the engine now. So then it just uses the battery when it needs to, it just flicks over as it needs to. So at the moment we're on battery power, as you can see by the EV in the bottom left there, and it's just kicked into motor now to accelerate. And just a steady cruise, it should flick back to battery again like that.
So what's in terms of like battery range and stuff?
This is more geared up as the performance hybrid than a sort of MPG hybrid. So battery range itself, it doesn't do sort of like mega miles on it. It'll do like a mile or two at the most. But as soon as you sort of demand anything, then it'll just bring the engine in as it needs to. Saying that, the car's done 72,500 miles, and if I flick through on the dash, it should be able to tell you it's something like 16,000 miles on, there we go, electric, 16,500 miles.
Wow.
In total. So yeah, you can say it's not too bad.
Excellent. Well, let's have a walk around the car and then we'll have some performance testing.
Okey-doke.
So, always someone interfere in the video, isn't there?
There's someone with a better engine than you.
Here it is from the outside. I'm informed by Jason that these wheels are standard, but
So they're the standard alloys for this, but this is the sport package. It's got the bigger brakes. I think they're actually Akibono brakes, from what I've been reading. It's got regenerative front brakes on it. So they're the right wheels, but someone's refurbed these, so it should be that colour centre, and all this is then silver round. quite a big brakes.
Quite impressive. Impressive, yeah.
But it also helps with charging the battery. It's got the regenerative braking on the battery for it.
Quite a mean look on the front.
It's full LED as well, full LED front lights, and they swivel as well when you turn the wheel.
And this is a 2015?
2015, that's right, yeah.
So, got a sunroof. Always good to have a sunroof, which isn't
£800 option for this.
It's not something that the UK market often gets specified on their cars, but...
And I did go out of my way to buy this car with the sunroof.
So, let's have a look in the boot, I believe.
Boot-wise, it's not massive for the size of the car.
Wow, yeah. It's not very deep there, is it? It doesn't go
That's
back.
because that's where the batteries sit. So the batteries are there. Obviously the non-hybrid ones, it goes back a lot further, and you can also put the seats down as well.
That's quite a good shape though. Like,
it's not bad, and if you look, you've got, it tells you how to put in your golf clubs.
well, there you go. It's a shame you don't play golf though, isn't it, really?
Oh yeah, there is that. I might have to start doing it though.
So, let's have a look on the inside at some of the features that you've got in there. So, it's quite nice in here, quite a small, sporty steering wheel. And, well, as you saw earlier, it's got two screens, so sat-nav and...
So it's always got the sat-nav on the top, and then it's got all your different, so you can have your climate functions, your audio, you put your destinations in on the bottom as well, but you've always got your sat-nav showing then, which is a nice feature I quite like.
Oh, that's for the sat-nav, is it?
Yeah, so that controls sort of the top screen. They're both touchscreen, but this controls sort of functions on the top screen, and also it's primarily touchscreen for the bottom. You have got sort of hard buttons down the side for your climate control, and sort of, you know, main buttons that you'd use.
All the usuals, that folding mirrors.
Yeah, which obviously won't do anything because the ignition's off at the minute.
Oh yeah.
Put your foot on the brake, it should start up.
Okay, low tyre pressure's just one of the sensors. We know that's not a problem. That's weird to feel the air conditioning coming through when the engine's not actually started as well.
It does normally cold start in with the engine, but obviously because we've been running it, it will go straight onto electric. It doesn't need the motor for cold start.
And this is the what we were saying earlier, the EV odometer, showing the total miles on electric alone, and then obviously this is showing the total miles with both electric and the engine. Right, so we're going to take it for a little drive, and it's my first time. Actually, no, I've driven
I was going to ask if you...
plug-in hybrid. I drove the Mitsubishi Outlander.
Oh yeah, the FEV ones.
Yeah, and to be honest, it's not a bad car, but I've not driven one that's sort of more performance orientated. So
yes, solely the batteries on this. So you can drive for a little bit, as you've seen on battery alone, but is more.
Yeah.
So you get 62 brakes just from the battery alone.
And it'd be interesting because the performance figures on this, I think, just over 5 seconds to 60, which was.
This is the all-wheel drive version. Yeah, the rear-wheel drives are slightly quicker, but not by much.
Which was similar to my 330D, so it'd be interesting to sort of get an idea of. I mean, this is a slightly heavier car as well, I imagine. So. Good to see how it feels. I haven't driven a decent car a decently quick car for a while, so. Right, so I guess this is all, I just need to put it in drive, don't I?
Yes.
It feels really weird with the engine not running. There's no handbrake, is there?
No, there's like a lever down by your left foot for the brake.
So if I feather the throttle like that, then that's how I see it comes in quite quick.
So it's got the direct adaptive steering, I think it's called DAS. So it's a drive-by-wire system on this.
Yeah.
So you have to sort of let me know what you think to that. But at the moment it's in standard mode.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't really. I can't sort of feel a difference with it really at the moment. It feels quite direct. If I stick that in sport mode.
So in sport mode you should notice it's gone heavier on the steering and it's quicker to respond as well.
I'll give it a bit of a test down the. To have a lot of continuous power. Yeah, that felt very different to the 330. I'll do it again. Yeah, it felt very different to the 330D because it sort of seemed to sort of get stronger and stronger as the rest went up. So, well, now that's speed camera there. That's impressive from the
get-go.
Yeah,
I think it helps.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with that. There's none of that lag you get from you know, well, even a petrol car, but you know, diesel petrol. With a 8-speed auto.
So if I knock it into personal mode, which I just had set up from last night driving down, you'll notice this still won't do it while you're steering. You'll notice the steering, I've just had it set for light casual. Right, I'll put it on personal mode now. It should be up one. So you should notice the steering's a lot lighter,
Yes,
a lot. It's light casual, so it's not as responsive as obviously in sport mode.
Yeah, it's. I must admit the BMW systems, which obviously have the electric power steering, they can feel a bit fake when they're in the stiffer mode. This doesn't feel like that. I'm just going to let this guy go past.
A lot of motor journalists complain about this DAS. I can't remember the Formula 1 driver, Sebastian Vettel I think it could be, has supposedly helped develop this steering. Driving it, we're not on a track, we're in Mexico, and the roads in Mexico aren't as good as a track. But sort of real world driving, I've not noticed sort of any problems with it as such.
I mean, this is sort of, is it 3 Series size? It probably is, isn't it? Or is it in between 3 and 5 Series?
I think this was aimed at the 3 Series when it was released.
I mean, certainly comparing it to my old 330D, which had the M Performance power kit on it, which took it up sort of nearer 300 horsepower. I'd say this is certainly from standstill. This has got a lot less lag, and obviously four-wheel drive. My one was a rear-wheel drive. You know, this feels equally as quick, if not quicker. I would say I prefer the steering on the 3 Series generally.
Yeah, that's what you're used to, I suppose. Isn't it?
It doesn't feel. I would say this feels less fake with the steering, but BMW just seems to have, to me, a bit more stability in the steering.
Yeah.
But I must admit, like comfort-wise and stuff, this is really nice interior and refined. Probably a little bit too refined. They want that engine to sing a bit more. I reckon when you're sport mode, it needs.
Yeah. So there's obviously the big thing would be a muffler delete, which is just simply the back box on the back.
Yeah.
but because it's the same engine as the 350Z, as you said earlier on, it can be a little bit raspy if you go too mad with the exhaust.
Ah, okay.
So it's got on this one, it's got, I think it's a tech package, it's got all-round cameras. It's also got radars for the back, so you've got the blind spot monitoring. Another good feature is when you're reversing out of a space, it detects motion.
Okay.
So if there's a cyclist or someone walking past or a car that you haven't seen, it does warn you on the camera.
I see what you mean about the brakes as well. Just now when I braked, the brakes was really sharp.
Yeah.
And, I guess that's to do with the regenerative braking, is it? If it's
That's right, yes. It depends on, I'm only guessing, but I think it depends on what sort of state the battery's in. But you can't seem to drive it smoothly because the brakes are never the same twice.
So there we go. Quick impromptu review. I think they know what they're doing. Nearly went head on with someone who was on our side of the road. But yeah, a quick impromptu review of a 2015 Infiniti Q50 Hybrid S.
Q50
Hybrid.
Q50 S Hybrid.
Yeah, that's the one. So yeah, nice car. Quite impressed with it. And if I was forced to have a...
So my phone died just at the wrong moment there, but I think what I was trying to say was, if I was forced to have a hybrid, I would possibly consider the Infiniti Q50. Having said that, I've not driven any of the other high performance hybrids, so hard to say, but overall, really nice car.